Hello, everyone. Welcome to Let's Go Up,
where we explore the mysteries of the kingdom of heaven.
I'm Dean.
And I'm Karitas.
Karitas, today we are on part 4 of The Mirror of Simple Souls.
Yes, by Marguerite Porete.
That's right.
Awesome.
Stay tuned.
We're back.
We are back.
Okay, I cannot believe we're already on part 4, and we've gotten through, 4 pages so far?
I know. I think last week it was like page 12 or something like that.
And then we were looking, and we were noticing that a lot of the pages are actually blank
I know.
in the book. Like the only page just says a chapter or a portion that the page is, but no writing. But so far, it's been really good.
It's been splendiferous.
Yes, that's a word you should use more in your life, Dean.
I'm going to use it to describe our website, Karitas.
Our website is?
Let'sgoup.us.
And it is?
Splendiferous.
Yes, I love it. Okay, let'sgoup.us has all the links to the links. So you want to go to Grace Awakening Network, it's right there. YouTube, different podcast platforms, it's right there. It's very simple, one-stop shop.
One-stop shop for Let's Go Up.
Yeah, for all your Let's Go Up needs.
That's right. All right. And if you're encouraged by today's episode, there is the like, subscribe, notification, and there's one more, share.
Yeah, you switched it up today.
I did switch it up for no particular reason. It's just because I forgot.
Just to be wild.
That's my wildest side right there.
Marguerite does talk about freedom, this life of freedom. This is what you're living in, Dean. No one can tell me to say notifications last.
All right, Karitas, welcoming our listening and watching guests today.
Welcome. Grace Awakening Network, YouTube, podcast platforms, The Great Cloud, Marguerite, to anyone else who's in the room, angels.
Right, let's open up our mystery box.
Ooh, drum roll. Boom.
Once again, if we don't open it, Marguerite will open it for us.
Yes, that was odd.
I know.
It's like
a few weeks ago. Go back and watch. Okay. Karitas, we've been talking about all kinds of things in the book, The Mirror of Simple Souls, and it is authored by Marguerite Porete in plain English.
Yes.
Actually, it's translated from French.
Yes. Very old book, written more than 700 years ago.
1300s.
In the 1300s by this mystic, this woman who just knew the Lord.
Yep.
Killed for it. People did not like this book.
No.
She knew what love had said. She said love authored this book.
Yep. So in here, she has a list of 9 qualities of a life made nothing by love. So the word nothing means nothing, but it also means everything.
Yeah.
So it's this contrast between I'm emptied out, but I'm full at the same time.
Yeah, I am nothing and I have everything.
Or I am nothing and I am everything. Or I have nothing, but I have everything.
Mm-hmm.
All at the same time.
Yeah, so she breaks it down here in 9 segments that we're going to go through in the next couple weeks, I think.
We'll see how long it takes.
Yeah, I don't think it'll be one episode.
It might not be.
But it might be. We just don't know. We don't know where we're going today.
So as we go through these qualities, there's going to be a lot of language in here that is signature Marguerite and signature Love, who is authoring the book. And Reason has a lot to protest here.
Right.
In a lot of places.
Yeah, so just to catch you up, Reason is a character in this book that has a lot of questions for love.
That's right.
Logical, reasonable questions. Are you telling me? Are you trying to say? Can you be more clear?
Yeah.
There is one point where Reason's like, oh God, love, will you just make sense?
There's one place I remember where Love says to Reason, you have such a limited perspective. Mm-hmm. You think so small. So the reasoning of our mind is not always expanded.
Ooh, yeah.
Sometimes it's a very small perspective.
Mm-hmm. Those toilet paper rolls you were talking about a few weeks ago. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, if you look through toilet paper rolls, you don't see the peripheral, right?
Yeah, Love's like, let's take these off.
Yeah.
Let's widen the vision, the perspective here.
All right. So, Karitas, let's dive in so that we can actually cover a few pages today. So the conversation is progressing between love and reason and the soul. This is chapter 9 on the first point spoken of before. So that point was the 9 qualities of a life made nothing. So here we go diving into these. Now this very first one is kind of crazy to me because the further that you travel into the life of grace, you realize that Jesus had nothing when he didn't have us. he didn't want nothing. He wanted all of us. And so we give him everything, but then in handing it all over to him, there's nothing again, but then he gives us everything back. So there's all these crazy kind of contrasts that happen. And the language goes back and forth between these two extremes. And that's what this particular point is.
Okay, let's hear it.
All right. Lady Love says reason.
Wait, aren't you going to do reason in a
Character?
Dean?
I don't know what reason would sound like, but I'm not good at characters.
Skeptical, maybe.
Very skeptical. Please explain the 9 points you spoke of before, for the sake of the contemplative souls who long always for love. You said that this soul in her nothingness cannot be found. Okay, so here already we're talking about the nothingness of the soul. Okay, Karitas, the first 2 points about the soul that is found in nothingness speak about the condition of the soul before it meets God, and then the condition of the soul when it is saved by faith.
Yes. Everybody is in a position before they meet him. We've all been there.
Yes.
Whether we know it or not. So she speaks of this in very graphic terms.
All right, let's go there.
Okay. That's true, says Love. This soul knows only one thing about herself, that she is the root of all evil, the source of every sin, beyond number, beyond weight, beyond measure. Sin is nothing and less than nothing, and she believes she is even lower than that. In her judgment, no creature is more deserving of unending torment than herself if God chose to punish even one of her thousands of faults. This is true humility in a soul that is nothing.
So the realization that this is where we were, and this is what separation looks like. This is true humility in a soul that is nothing.
Wow.
So it's that initial realization, what Jesus actually came to do, and the depth that he went to.
Yeah, the power of that, what he paid for.
Yeah.
What he came and redeemed. This was a huge beginning. It sounds very religious, but it's actually just a starting point for a life of freedom.
Yeah.
To even be aware of how imprisoned we were.
Yes.
In our freedom apart from God. Yeah, it just reminds me of when you go into Walmart, there's all sorts of things in there and they're all different prices based on what the value of that item is. But with us, Jesus saw us and we were all the same value. He paid the same price for Hitler as he did for the Pope. Same value, regardless. We were in the same position and he came. So this awareness, this deep humility of realizing that, it really helps you walk in the fullness of forgiveness. When you realize how forgiven you were, it becomes impossible to not forgive people.
There's a verse that says, the one who is forgiven much loves much. Well, we've all been forgiven a lot.
Yeah.
The thing is, we don't want to set up a tent there, like we talked about a couple of weeks ago.
Some people have set up whole denominations there.
Yes.
Right. So, but we move forward in the newness of life. So let's keep moving forward.
Right. So point number 2, how the soul is saved by faith without works and what that means. Love, says Reason. What does that mean?
Classic Reason.
Yes.
So love, it means that the soul, having become nothing, has such deep inward knowledge through faith that she is sustained by it. Faith brings her an awareness of the power of the Father, the wisdom of the Son, and the goodness of the Holy Spirit. Nothing else can occupy her mind for long. Faith has taken full possession of her.
She can no longer act in the usual sense, but she has enough faith to believe that God is good even without understanding it. That's a bam for sure.
Yeah, that's a bam.
Faith to believe that God is good without understanding it is so foundational. I can see why it sits in point number 2 here, because it's one of the basic things about our relationship with Christ. We don't get to question his goodness.
Yeah, when you see how good his good is, you can't question it.
Yeah. And going on through some of these other points, in just a few minutes, we'll talk more about God's goodness, because one of them centers around it.
It's all about having that single eye, that clear eye, When we're rejoicing in his goodness, irregardless of what's happening around us, we'll always be living in this place she's talking about, where you're not phased, you're not going up and down, you don't have hills and valleys, you're just constant and consistent in the joy of the Lord and the peace.
Yeah. A life rooted in the goodness of God is a very stable life. So what we're doing here is we're emptying ourselves out, but we're picking up his fullness. And in his fullness, we're more full than we ever were. Full to the brim, overflowing, actually. So this is not none of us and all of him. It's none of us, all of us, and all of him all at the same time.
Yeah, you are in me, I am in you.
Yes.
Just like I am in the Father and he is in me. He's not diminishing himself by saying he's in the Father. Just like he's not diminishing you by saying you're in him. And this whole goodness ties into that first point of evil apart from God, that separateness, that life of darkness. When we realize what Jesus did, our circumstances stop affecting how we're doing because what he did trumps everything.
Yes.
The goodness in that, the love in that, we get to live in that. And there's nothing greater, no greater love than to lay your life down for your friends.
Yeah.
How can I get annoyed or mad at someone because they took my parking spot at Costco when Jesus took my spot, when he came and took everything that I deserved? How could anything faze me that any person does? That is so high on the level of goodness. It just blows it off the charts.
Yeah. So once again, the first point is the realization of the separation that we were before we were saved by faith. The second point, without works. So let's take away the works from this. We're not trying to do this. We're not trying to be something. We're not trying to do something for God, because going forward here, some of these next points talk about that. So let's go on to the third one.
Point number 3.
Yes, the soul is alone in love. It places no hope, comfort, or affection in any created thing, but only in God's goodness. So here we have God's goodness coming up again. So we're placing all our hope in God's goodness here.
All of our eggs are in one basket.
The goodness of God basket?
The goodness of God basket. If you live with some of your eggs and some other, you're always going to be having doubts and highs and lows. But when all your eggs are in the goodness of God basket.
That's one basket that never falls and breaks.
Yeah.
I've had my eggs in other baskets, and I've had the basket fall off the wall and all the eggs broke on me, and I was shattered beyond comprehension. So
Yeah, it can derail your life.
it derailed me for a good dozen years. So another thing that people do oftentimes is they hold the goodness of God hostage for their situation.
Okay.
If God was good, he wouldn't have let this happen.
Right. Yes.
So why did you let that happen, God? It wasn't his goodness that did it to you. It wasn't because he was good that that happened to you. There's an adversary in this world who messes things up. That had nothing to do with God's goodness.
Yeah.
But the problem is we live our own lives in our own way. And then when things happen that we don't think are God's goodness, we hold him hostage because we say, you should have done something about that.
If you loved me, you would have fixed this and this and this. And it's actually, if I didn't love you, would I have sent my son? End point. No other argument. I can't think of any greater show of love than he's already shown us. So anything outside of that isn't him. He's already shown us the maximum level of love anyone could show us. I'm not hinging his goodness on that.
Yeah.
Prove it, God. He doesn't need to prove it.
Yeah, so I would just like to speak to that because, like I said, it derailed me for so long in my life. It took a big chunk out of the middle of my life. I feel like there was a big dragon that came and chunked a big dozen years out of my existence because I held God hostage for some things that happened to me. And I just like to speak into that for anybody who is in that situation. It's not God that did that to you. Don't hold the "why did you allow me" card and demand that God answer for why something happened to you when maybe you were living your own life your own way. He had nothing to do with it.
Yeah.
Like, he didn't cause the situation. The thing is that he redeems situations so well sometimes that it seems like he was the cause of it in the first place. And we often say, oh, you know what? God brought that into my life so that I could come to this new place. No, God didn't bring it into your life. The devil planned to take you out. And what God did is he redeemed it so well that we don't even have a comprehension for who caused it because he did such a good job of redeeming it. That's the truth.
Yeah. If you're such an all-powerful God, why don't you heal my son? Why don't you do this? But when I look at Jesus and what he showed us on this earth, I feel like his response, if I ever would say that to him, would be, Why don't you heal your son? Just like with the fish, you go feed them. Just with his disciples, you go and lay your hands on the sick. Don't pray for the sick. Lay your hands on the sick. Heal them. You heal them. He's commissioned us to walk this earth as ambassadors and heirs, putting everything on him instead of realizing, okay, what am I not accessing here that I could be accessing? Instead of shifting all the blame onto the Father and actually walking as the sons on this earth, realizing we have a very real enemy who wants to steal, kill, and destroy. So anything that's stealing, killing, or destroying isn't God, because he comes and brings life to the full, the fullness of joy. We have already been blessed with every spiritual blessing in the heavenly realms. So when we live from that, we stop blaming him or holding that hostage card of his goodness.
Right.
When she starts talking here, this soul is alone in love. Love is everything. Everything flows from that. She has a clear view of love. She's one with love. God is love. And the goodness of God is in there. It's a radically different place to live.
Yes, so you see the transition here, right? We're coming from a place where we acknowledge what we were before. Then we were saved by faith alone, not by works. And now we're stepping into a life where love is everything.
Yeah, and we're fully consumed by his goodness.
Yes.
Where his goodness is never on trial.
His goodness is never on trial. I like that so much. All right, now we're going to move on to the fourth point. This one is interesting to me. This soul does nothing for God.
Okay, this is the one where I feel like she really ruffled the feathers of the church system.
Oh my goodness,
I feel like this was probably brought up in her court case when she was being held before the judge.
The soul doesn't concern itself with anything that God doesn't concern himself with. That is such a bam statement. Wow.
Yeah, reason for God's sake. What does this mean? Like, you hear what you're saying?
He literally says that just as God doesn't fuss over his own work, this soul doesn't fuss over anything that God does not concern himself with.
Yeah. Simple as that, guys. If God's not worried about it, I'm not worried about it.
That is the point here. And so we're not doing anything for God. A lot of the stuff that we try to do for him is because we're trying to take care of things that he simply is not concerned about.
Yeah. Like a child tattling on another child. God, you know what they're doing in your name? And you know that they're not really saying it right. And you know their theology's not right. Like, I feel like the Father's like, I'm not worried about it.
Chill out, people.
Take a deep breath. Just love them.
That's right.
Didn't the disciples do that? Didn't they actually go to Jesus and they started tattling on someone, some people that were using his name incorrectly? And he's like, well,
if you're not against me, you're for me. Yeah.
Pretty much. They were like, what? God's not concerned about it. He's not fretting. Why would we fret?
Okay, so this next point here takes us down a path for sure. This starts an entire narrative on the will of God. And a lot of this book from here on in talks about God's will.
Yeah, I found that was kind of the main gist of this whole book.
It is.
The will. And it's a different perspective of the will of God than I had ever grown up thinking.
Yes. Point number 5. The soul doesn't refrain from doing anything for God's sake. The soul only does that which is God's will. It cannot will anything except what he wills. Because the soul has no thought other than God's will, there is nothing it needs to refrain from.
Whoa.
Okay, so this is an exchange of wills. Our will for his. All of us for all of him. So here's the thing. We're so tied to the idea that we have a free will. The free will that we've been given is basic to our relationship with God. It's something that he's given us that he's given few other creatures. The angels don't have the same type of free will that we have. They do have a free will, but if something happens and they transgress that,
Yeah.
all right?
Yeah.
But we've been given a free will and we've been given the right to use it in whatever way we want. I've thought a lot about free will because I've spent a lot of time meditating in the first 5 or 6 chapters of Genesis, where we were given a free will and we didn't use it correctly. So then things changed and we still have a free will, but our free will has taken us down multiple bad pathways as human beings. But just the fact that God gave us a free will, it says something about him that is huge. there's such a trust that he put in our kind to give us a gift like that. And there's obviously something in the gift of a free will that was absolutely necessary for us to have in order for us to be able to love him the way that he wants to be loved.
Yeah.
Those with a gift of an absolutely free will can make the decision to love like no other creature can make.
Yeah. And it was such a massive gift, but it came with such a risk. But
Yes.
he had such hope for our potential. He saw what we could be with this free will, very aware of how terrible we could be with it,
Yes.
but how much better we could be with it than how terrible we could be. Like, think of the worst things on this earth. The goodness of walking in his will is so much higher that was worth the risk.
Yeah.
All these terrible atrocities people do because of free will. Most of the things we're blaming God for are because we have free will. Even sickness. How many of us are sick because we have free will? People make decisions for profit and money. Food is polluted. Our environment becomes toxic. We don't even know we're lied to about various things because of free will. And then we blame God that we're sick.
Yeah.
But the potential, I don't even think we have a grain of sand of an awareness of the potential good and power of our life aligned with his will. All the terrible things were worth the price
Yeah.
for us to walk in his will.
So this book makes the point that the most responsible thing that a person with a free will could do with that free will is turn that will over to God and take on his will. Yeah. And it makes the point that the more that we become aware of the union that we are given with him, I don't like to use the language the more that we walk in union or the more that we dive into union, because the truth is we're already there. So I'm just going to say the more aware that we are of it and the more that we step into the awareness of it.
Yes.
And our oneness with him, the more that our will melds into him.
Yeah.
Because we are in him, he is in us. Our will is in him, and his will becomes
good.
in us.
When we start to believe that we are already one with him, it's a complete game changer. It realigns our will to what we were meant to be. Because people will say, are we not supposed to have feelings or emotions then? No, the feelings and emotions we were born with aren't the feelings and emotions we were created to exist in and live in. Most of the time, we haven't been living in our original created design. And then we're holding on to the separate fallen nature and identity that isn't even who we are. And then we defend it. Are you saying that I shouldn't ever be angry or this or that? But I'm saying we have a level of life that we can live up to that Jesus showed us. This is what you guys look like. This is how you're created. And this is how you're able to live. Where even your shadow heals people. That's how aligned to the Father you are.
Listen to this statement one more time. Because the soul has no thought other than God's will, there is nothing it needs to refrain from. So when our wills are turned completely over to him, when we believe in the union, this is the ultimate description, in my opinion, of the lifestyle of grace. We are so empowered by grace that sin isn't an issue anymore. There's nothing that we need to refrain from because there's nothing to refrain from.
It's not even on your radar. You're not thinking, how do I please God? What does he want?
And you're not thinking, how can I stay away from sin? It actually doesn't have a place in us anymore.
Yeah.
It's not part of who we are. It doesn't register on the scale anymore. So there's nothing that we need to refrain from because there's no temptation there anymore. It's gone.
Yeah, I will give them a new heart and put a new steadfast spirit in them.
Yes. So that's what we're talking about here.
Yeah, and it didn't go over so well in her time.
No?
But this book, the Holy Spirit, just kept circulating for hundreds of years. But, you know, that was one of the things that she was punished for in her trial was you're saying that you don't need the holy rules and sacraments of the church.
Right.
Right? Which a lot of it was sin consciousness and repenting and earning and working for kind of mentality.
Okay, Karitas, I think we're going to go for one more.
Okay. Do we have time to do point 6?
We do.
Okay.
This also would have been very confrontational at the time.
Well, she did get burned at the stake.
She did.
So it was very much not taken well.
This is a bold statement.
Yeah.
No one can teach this soul. Okay, that sounds like absolute arrogance if you take it the wrong way.
Okay, reasons like freaking out here after she says this. Again, reasons like, for God's sake, tell us what this means. Not coping with this statement well about not needing anyone to teach.
Right. This means, says love, that this soul has such deep knowledge. And to me, that's infused knowledge.
Oh, totally.
That even if she had all the knowledge ever possessed or to be possessed by any creature, she would still consider it nothing compared to that which she loves. Something that never has been and never will be known. So basically, this point is saying that love trumps knowledge.
Well, didn't Paul write about that in, was it 1 Corinthians 13 when he's writing about love? You can possess all knowledge. You can possess all these things. You can be the keynote speaker at the conference, Dean.
Yes.
But without love, you have nothing. He was aware of this level of union here that we are in with the Lord.
Yeah, there's another statement just a little further down here. Even if she had all the wisdom of every creature, she would still say, it is nothing compared to what truly is, which cannot be spoken. The love that she has infuses her with such deep and rich knowledge that nothing compares. And she doesn't desire the other type of knowledge, which is the knowledge that comes from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, by the way. Good stuff, bad stuff.
Yeah, I think we can be tricked into thinking, well, this is good knowledge.
Yeah.
Learning about God, this is all good stuff, but it's still coming from that tree of our knowledge and our understanding.
Mm-hmm. When we come across a verse like it says in Isaiah, no one will teach their neighbor. They will all be taught directly of the Lord.
Mm-hmm.
Do we really believe that?
Imagine we believe that the Holy Spirit will teach us all things.
That's something that we've said over and over here on Let's Go Up. I mean, I don't know if what we're doing is teaching or not.
We're exploring, Dean.
We're explorers.
We're exploring the mysteries of the kingdom of heaven.
That's right.
That's what we're doing.
Our goal is not to teach here on Let's Go Up. If you learn anything, if there's knowledge, it's only a byproduct of the journey. Mm-hmm. It's not meant to be the point of what we do here.
Because if you're teaching, you have to be correct. But when you're exploring, you can go with the Father.
There you go.
And if you start getting off track, he reels you in. Dean, poison ivy down there. Mm-hmm. Itchy. We'll go here.
Okay, Karitas. So we have 3 more points to go here. We're going to do that next week.
Yeah.
We're going to go into the territory of God's goodness. We're going to go back into the territory of the will of God and a few other things next time on steroids. Yeah. We've just started it here, but it goes into even more depth on them in the next 3 things. Number 7, 8, 9 next week. Have an awesome week. We'll see you next time. In the meantime, stay in love and keep it simple.